Also, a very warm welcome from my side. I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad to see some of our valued customers in the room. And yeah, I'm happy also to see some partners, some people currently considering LeanIX, and I'm hoping to give you some good insights today on how to make your EA tool adoption successful. First of all, I hope you all enjoyed your Haribos during the break. Yeah, you still have them. So I don't know if you know the story about Haribo, but as it is in our, I would say not DNA, but it's part of our story. So Haribo actually, who knows where Haribo is from? I mean, Germany. There, yeah, a little bit more close. Close, yeah. They're from Germany. They're from Bonn. From Bonn, yeah. And you know what Haribo stands for? It stands for Hans Riegel Bonn. So it's the founder and then the city of Bonn. So yeah, to be honest, I'm very glad that Andre and Jörg decided or had a better sense on how to create the name of the company. That would have been very strange in your cases, but yeah. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you keep it in mind. We are from the same city. Yeah, back to EA tool adoption. I mean, Andre gave me a very good introduction. You'll see, I needed to use one slide as well from his presentation, but let me start with my currency. So my currency is obviously, as VP Customer Success of LeanIX, is obviously the customers. By the way, this was a photo taken at the Adidas event last year in November. So this was the EA Connect Day 2017. So since yesterday we have more than 120 customers. So we had one signing yesterday. That's why I put a bigger than sign here. In total, and that now I'm counting all the live workspaces. We have 50,000 users for all the 120 customers. So this makes quite a huge number. Number of fact sheets, 300,000 fact sheets across all live workspaces from our customers. And as we learned, there are a lot of decisions that need to be taken in that. So 1.1 million created relations between those fact sheets in our workspaces. So this is basically the currency that me and my team that we are thinking in, making our customers successful. So enlarging the users, the user base for our customers, seeing how they can create value, how they can bring the relevant data in it. And you also said connecting the dots. So I think we got very good inspiration in the first presentation this morning. Data only becomes relevant when you relate it in any way, and this also accounts for LeanIX. So relations is that's the source where you really get the information and the visualizations out of the tool. So you saw that when I saw that the first time. So only 50% of the companies really have a successful EA tool implementation at the first attempt. I mean, from my position, I can confirm that, because we don't only have customers coming from Excel, Visio, PowerPoint. We, in most or in some cases, also have from other products where we say where we really feel a pain with that the customers have and say, hey. That was a long time. The tool was hardly to be used. We have a very small user base, but we want to do it better this time. So this is like the starting point where we looked into those points that Andre mentioned and said, hey, there's a mismatch between with the end user needs. So who's actually the end user of an EA tool? Is it the enterprise architect, or is it the community around the enterprise architect? Incomplete or inaccurate information. Nobody logs in for a second time when at first sight he sees, yeah, this is old. This was a year ago or 2 years ago. and an unclear value proposition. So this is all these points. That's something that we are very sensitive about in customer success. So to make our customers really successful. So another currency for us is time to value. So to really speed up the process, to make customers prove value of using LeanIX. So and we divided this into 3 stages. So it's like acceleration in the beginning, what we do in onboarding, growing your user base, showing relevance of the tool, and then developing the tool, continuously developing the tool. What I'll do, I will deep dive now in these 3, share some best practices and stories from our customers with you, and afterwards, as Andre said, go into the tool and also show you how we at LeanIX did this and adopted the tool for us. So let's start with acceleration. So what I see is sometimes forgotten a bit is you have stakeholders as EAs, and these are very important for the acceptance of the tool. Probably it's the ones that gave the budget, but it's also users that are having an interest in getting analysis from the tool, in contributing data to the tool, in getting questions answered that are currently reside in some Excels or so. Especially in acceleration, in the beginning phase, it's important to focus. And I don't know how often I say that in onboarding. That don't boil the ocean. You can do so much in the beginning. You can bring in nearly everything from your organization, but even the smallest organizations, as we needed to focus at the beginning when we started that, because you have vast amount of data that you can bring in. So my recommendation would be take a project, take some kind of a department or organizational entity where you can say, hey, this is something where we can prove value quickly, instead of going for the whole organization, for all countries at the same time, for all types of data at the same time. So start there. Also, when it comes to transparency, make it visual. Have those discussions based on the visuals. I think that was also very clear at the beginning. It doesn't make sense to have some kind of discussions based on just on a table. Sometimes you have to see it. You have to see some coloring that makes it relevant and that caters to the situation that you are discussing it in. As an EA, build the bridges and be pragmatic. So you're somewhere in between business, a business initiative leading the digital transformation, an IT delivering, or IT operations, and there it needs to be, the EA needs to be the person who really builds the bridge between those two. Also, enable your users. It's important at the beginning. It will be even more important afterwards. Because the EA is the admin of the tool, but you would have to accept that the people in your in other departments or other potential users, they have a lot of other tools that they are using for their daily business. So architecture is sometimes not their only concern. So you have to take into account that you have to enable them to use them. I mean, we do our best to create an intuitive tool, but nevertheless, these guys or the other guys will have 10, 15 other tools that they do different stuff with. So give them some context, what is relevant for them. When you start modeling, and I think everybody who's an EA has got a good sense of what does modeling mean. I believe that if you rely on standards and best practices, that makes your life much easier. And thereby, so just to give you an example, what we came up with over the last months is some best practices on business capabilities and also technology stack. So you you saw that when we went when Andre also talked a bit about our data model. So business capabilities and technology stack, that's the two categories where we believe we have quite a good overlap between customers. And we say, yeah, there are differences between business capabilities, between organization, industries, etc. But this is a good starting point. So use this, and also in terms of technology stack, take also the considerations that we have. So don't go too deep in the levels, because then it will get too academic, and you won't be able to have a pragmatic allocation of applications to the business capabilities, for example. So this is for us always when we are in the acceleration and onboarding. So that's something that you can start with and bring data in your inventory. So after that, so it's about growth. So let's assume you've proven the first value. It's important then to create your user base and to differentiate between those who contribute and those who consume. So it's okay if not everybody contributes to the tool. There will be people who are just logging into the tool once a week, once every 2 weeks to get their report out of it. But there will be others who have valuable information in their minds, in their Excel sheets, wherever currently, and you have to show them how they can, or how you can make their life easier for the future. Establish governance and ownership. So it's about allocating a responsibility to something. That's what I figure out seems very easily said. But if you really put some name or to an application and say, hey, you're the application owner of that, or you are the business owner of that creates a discussion. And this is because it's transparent in the whole company at a certain point of time. So, and this is a discussion that you have to foster. The EA, I think, is in a very good position, because he has the connection to both sides. So when you deliver those, or when you have the first success with a project, with one department, promote these results. Go back to your stakeholders and say, hey, we spent some money here, and we invested some resources here, but this is the first result that we got, and it's a good one. Next, as I said, you need to enable your users, but you don't want to answer all the questions or the same questions all the time. So, I mean, we provide some resources that you can use, but we see, especially for our bigger customers, we have some customers where we have 2,000 users per month. So they are developing their own glossaries within the data model of LeanIX, and they provide this information internally and training videos and regular webinars for their organization. So depending on the size of the user base, it's important to scale this, because if it's just on the shoulders of the EA and he does 6-7 webinars a week to train the users, then it will be very difficult to really concentrate on further developing the tool. Also, a good thing for the growth is, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of manual processes which involve Excel, like application surveys, sending it from A to B, getting an answer, needing to forward it, and then getting it back, then needing to consolidate it. So this is one of the first use cases, or the first questions that we ask. Do you have any kind of those processes? And can we bring them into LeanIX? Because that makes life easier for your users, not just for the enterprise architect, but also for the users, and that will very much drive the adoption of the tool. So what we see here is basically, I'm an advocate for collaborative maintenance of the data, but as we see, some things change so fast, as Andre said, with the microservices, or sometimes there are other systems of record where it's good to have automated data imports. And I think it's a good combination of both. to have it here because, yeah, then the ultimate goal is to increase data quality, and you can only make that if you have it collaboratively and automatically. If you look at the whole picture, and this is the enterprise architecture management discipline here in the center, there are a lot of disciplines around that are relevant to our ecosystem within EA. So we see incident management. Andre gave the example of ServiceNow. We see performance management, where we have the example of App Dynamics. We have project management, where we have project management tools, where it could be very relevant to have those projects also within LeanIX to be able to relate applications to them. We've got the business process world, where it's also important to provide a repository of applications for the business process modelers. We have costing, where Apteo, we discussed it, was one of the where we see the highest demand, at least in the European market. We have definitely visualization, and also tools for master data management or business capabilities, where you need to evaluate for yourself. Do you have any of those tools in place? Are they a system of record? Is it relevant to bring applications or any object that resides within LeanIX to those tools, or getting it from those tools? Because in the mid and long term, that will make your life easier and also the life of the others in the organization. So once this is set up, I mean, we could be quite happy, I would say. We have created a good transparency in a very good way. But this is, we believe and we see there is more. So once this is done, we see EAs in a role where they, based on the data that resides within the tool, this is a single source of truth that is relevant for IT management decisions. And we see proactive EAs in our customer base that are using that data and go to the CIO and say, yeah, we've got a risk here. We've got a lot of components running out of life here, so we need to do something here. And being in this decision process, on the decision table. We see there that in this process, the EA becomes a central part of the IT processes. It's not like the picture I had on the Gartner conference, I think 10 times, the picture of the ivory tower. No, it's really being part of the core IT processes. What do you need for that? So we see EA teams of 1 and 2 up to like 30, 40, 50 people in an EA team. And especially in the mid to larger teams, it's important to have an interdisciplinary team. So we see a mixture of former developers, solution architects coming in this, but also people from the business side, and creating this combined understanding already in the EA team. In order to develop, it's always important to set track and evaluate the targets, because the targets that you set 3-6 months ago when you started, they might be or might need some readjustment afterwards, because you can go into other directions now. You've got a pretty good picture here, but yeah, where do we go from here? So, and this is a discussion that you should have with the stakeholders. So, in order to give you an understanding, so this transparency, the basic use case, that is really just the start. And from there, it can go into multiple directions. And I'm very happy that Nancy and Kevin will give you some deeper insights in some of the use cases, like app rationalization and technology obsolescence. But we see that customers are also then with this transparency, being able to moderate a cloud transformation, or to enable a cloud transformation, to see where can we realize quick wins in the cloud transformation? Where do we have still hurdles towards this? In terms of IoT architectures, when things become very complex, when you have isolated solutions from different providers because they all have fancy sensors and fancy portals, but you are not able to get an analysis on all the data that you collect with all the sensors, this is something where we believe the architect is in the best position to advocate for an architecture that is open, that allows to share all that data from the sensors that reside within the company. Standards governance. I mean, this is probably the role that enterprise architects have very often, or that they are very often asked, and doing that in a collaborative tool. It allows you to really spread the word, to make that accessible, and not just to do it in a top-down approach, but to allow discussions around those standards. GDPR, I think it's born in the Europe, but I think it's relevant for the US as well, and to all the people I talked over today and yesterday. So I think I don't need to explain the acronym. It's known for everybody that data protection is a field where the EA gets a new stakeholder. So the data privacy officer, or however he or she is called in a company, and this is new. That wasn't there 2 or 3 years ago. So this is a new chance, and I will in a second show you some insights how we use the EA tool to do that use case. Post merger, we have some very aggressive customers in terms of their M&A strategies, and this puts the EA in a position where he constantly gets new application portfolios. And how do you deal with that? How can you make sure that you have a sense of harmonizing it? We are advocates of using business capabilities for that, because then you get a little bit abstract from the organization layer, which then changes after the M&A happens and the company gets integrated. But you very fast get a good understanding what are really the common capabilities that all those companies have, what are the redundancies, and how can we go from here. And also integration architecture, so seeing how data flows throughout the organization. Where is it created? Where is it updated? Where, who is reading that kind of data? And this is particularly becoming relevant in terms of GDPR, where you need to give an information about that, and where you need to tell where your data resides. So this said, so this is something that we advocate for. It's rather an agile and iterative process of rolling out an EA tool. It's about delivering fast, smaller results, and then going on from there into the use cases. I will now go to the. Okay, I think. So, just a second. Some PowerPoint again. Okay. So I hope you see a LeanIX workspace soon. And I hope that, yeah. So this is LeanIX for LeanIX. We ourselves believe in architecture. We ourselves have already, as a small company, quite a complex application portfolio. So if you count all our applications, you get to quite a high number. I'm now going into the to the transparency use case that we that I said is the beginning. So Andrew said already we have 3 pillars. So it's the home where the user starts. It's the inventory where all the data resides, and it's reporting. So this was a first task for us to create an application landscapes based on our domains, how we called them, and there being able to see already as a young company, we figured out that we need to phase out some of the applications. So it's always a process of renewing ourselves. So going deeper in that use case, so this is basically our whole company. LeanIX with all our domains. So I now only want to look at the customer success domain. So look here, do a little bit drill down, and of course also seeing, and as we are an architecture company, of course our US colleagues are using the same applications for the business capabilities as the German colleagues are doing. So this is a first result that we expect to see for every customer within the first 30 days. So where to go from here? It's basically domains or business capabilities by the user groups. But from here it could be very interesting, and you will see that we are a true SaaS company. We don't have any single on-premise application, so we do a drill down to the underlying IT components, and this I would say for probably most companies looks much more complex. But in terms of SaaS, it's quite simple. But there could be a server underneath, an operating system, a database, whatever. And this is still sliced now to the customer success practice to see what we are running here. So now we've got a certain kind of transparency, but from here it goes down to the next question: what kind of data do we store in those applications? So data is classified in our data model into public, sensitive, restricted, and confidential. We see that here quite well. That most of the data is just public that we have, but we also have some probably customer or employee data related applications. So let's go into one of these. I chose Zendesk. For those who are not familiar, I did the description. So as soon as we have that in our own workspace, then I'm looking forward to the domain or business capability suggestions. Here is a part that we customized for ourselves in terms of GDPR information. So we brought in the purpose of processing, which is, in this case, it's a service desk solution. We do that because we fulfill our contractual obligations. There are other options to it. Of course, because you could run a marketing campaign or something like this. But this is information that we document here. Furthermore, it's who is this? What kind of category of data, and what is the legal basis for the processing? Yeah, it's existing customers and prospects, of course. And we do have, based on the EU and German law, other ways to give a legal basis for this. So what else do I see here? I see that there's a data processing agreement made on February 8th. So this is well documented. I see that the Zendesk solution supports certain domains. So it's supporting customer support, obviously, as a customer service desk. But it's also, we also use it in order to define the product priorities and see what kind of feature requests, etc., need to be considered. You can see here it has got an interface to Salesforce. So this is all the kind of information that we document here. It used to have another one. And also from the technical fit, it's good. It has got a good API. So this is kind of information that and it allows us an integration with Gecko board. So we get nice graphics out of it. Just to give you a practical example on how we use it and what kind of information we bring in the tool. You saw that it carries sensitive data. So this is then the customer data. It reads customer data. And we put behind this a planned deadline for deletion. And we also here, in terms of the employee data, as a service desk solution, this includes performance-based data. So this gives a very good picture on how data comes into the tool, and as I showed how it's represented in reports. And of course, I mean, I got a little bit inspired this morning. In the first presentation, because what is in terms of GDPR also a relevant question, and I like the world map report, so I thought I must bring it as well for you. So this is the application sourcing. So it takes basically into account where is the underlying IT components, where are they hosted, and shows you all those applications on a map. And then we could see, for example, we have 53 applications now which are hosted in the US, and obviously can generate the list here to work further with it. But this is the idea behind it. To be able to slice and dice in your data to create a nice visual and to support a use case such as GDPR in a way so that you can approach or support your data security officer in a way that he gets the data around applications that he needs. So, to wrap this up, so we started. Remember, 50% of the EA tool adoptions are not successful at first time. So we really believe that start small. As I said, don't boil the ocean, and prove value fast. This is crucial to the success of the implementation of an EA tool. This is what you really need to do right in the first 30 days, or even faster. Establish an EA community, and this is not just the EA team. It's not the core team. It's all people on business side, on IT operation side, that can contribute to it. That are potential users or consumers of the content, and get them to the discussions. You will see, we see that there are really lively discussions on the fact sheets themselves, where people say, "Hey, what's the status here?" Or can you give me an update on that? So this is a conversation that is happening on the fact sheets. And then once you have this transparency, continuously improve the value, look for new stakeholders, new use cases, and look where you can go next after you created some initial transparency on that. Okay. So you know that picture? You know the crew? Thank you very much.